DSG, or what we call the direct shift gearbox. The DSG transmission is actually a discovery, if not an innovation, an invention that VW got and chose to put it in their Volkswagen brand of cars. Now, the DSG as it is, it's a manual gearbox with automatic control. So you have a car or you have a gearbox that in its internal setup, it actually shifts gears the way you would do in a manual transmission. However, the design eliminates human input. Now they install a control unit called a mechatronic. So it's a mechanical unit with electronic control. So it picks off its brain and it knows when to shift the gears. Now, there are a number of factors that it uses. Of course, the RPM of the car, which gear position you've put, whether you put on drive or reverse or it's on neutral, according to how you're driving, are you climbing a hill or you're going down a slope. The DSG, therefore, is not the ordinary gearbox or the ordinary transmission because it's a combination of both the automatic and the manual. In its design, it has two clutches. A normal manual gearbox has just one clutch that you keep playing around with. One set of that clutch helps to engage the odd gears, 1, 3, 5, 7. The second set engages the even gears. Now, the way it is designed internally is that if you're on gear number 1, gear number 2 is also engaged, but not activated. So when you need gear number 2, when you start driving and you need to shift to gear number 2, all the system does is now it transfers the power to go to the second gear. So when you're driving, you don't actually feel that nudge of, oh, the gear has shifted. If you're keen, the only thing you can see is the RPM going up and dropping. But you don't feel that nudge of, okay, gear 2 has gone, no, gear 3 has gone, no, gear 4, or it has. So that's the entire reason. Now, the design of the DSG was brought so that gear shifts are seamless, but also you get better fuel economy. So that the car doesn't over-rev itself because it's still building pressure and sort of a thing. Of course, that means the oil that's supposed to be used is not going to be the ordinary oil. Now, DSG uses DSG oil or DSG fluid. Now, the DSG, the way it was designed, also there are two different types. There is the 6-speed DSG, which it's actually a wet clutch, and then there is the 7-speed, which is a dry clutch. The 6-speed, which is the wet clutch, it uses the dual clutch transmission fluid. Others call it a DCT fluid. These are synthetics. They are designed to work under a lot more pressure, and also they're designed to work under a lot more temperature. That is for the wet clutch. The dry clutch, however, that is now the 7-speed. Now that again is called a 0AM according to its specifications. Now that it has two different types of fluids it uses. It has the one of the mechatronic, which is 1.7 liters when you're servicing it, and then the actual gearbox, which now shifts the gears themselves. That uses the normal gear oil, which is 75W90 or 85W90. And normally it is advised that change that oil right about 35,000 kilometers or every 35,000 kilometers, because it's known to have quite a number of issues if it is left unserviced. So you will need to know which type of DSG you have. Then that is where you can be able to tell which kind of DSG oil you need to use. And the service times, according to the manual, it is 6,000 kilometers for the wet clutch 6-speed, and averagely 35,000 kilometers for the 7-speed dry clutch. Now, the 7-speed dry clutch, common, it's on the smaller engines. The 1 liter, the 1.4, the 1.2, on the 1.8 in the Passats. It's also there on the 1.4 for the Tiguans. But the wet clutch or the 02E, that now it's on the bigger, it's on the bigger engines. commonly on the 2-liter TSIs. So that explains a number of things when it comes to the DSG transmission.